All right. Welcome, one and all, to the basically official beginning of season 24 of Fragments of Silicon. I know we usually title the first, you know, main show interview thingy episode as, episode one of a given season, but this is the first broadcast of a new season.
This is the start of
For
our
those,
broadcast day. Wait, no, hold on.
I mean, that's basically what it is. I bring this up because apparently we have new followers. Like all
We
I know
have
is
some
somebody
new
has actually,
followers and we have a paid subscriber now.
yeah. So
Renea? I
it,
believe that's how you pronounce that. So,
the point is, it's probably a good idea to go over a bit of the basics for people who just dropped in the past few weeks or so.
right.
While we were off the regular broadcast. Anyway, speaking of which, what we do here is we do a review session. I.e., we have 4 games up for review, unless they're early access, in which case those are impressions based off of wherever that game happens to be in early access at that given moment in time.
Right.
Also worth mentioning, we are doing this on my birthday. So happy birthday to me. I have turned XT-ish years old. More on that on Wednesday. Um, anyway, so we're starting things off with Freefall 95. Chain massive trick combos, dodge deadly debris, and chase huge scores in this fast-paced arcade adventure. Earn coins, upgrade abilities, collect rare items, and uncover a wild time-bending narrative aboard this doomed flight in the year of 1995. Yeah, hence the 95 in the title. Like, if you're, it's got the the year comma thing. What do
Yeah.
you call that? Like,
I don't know.
yeah,
I've
but you
seen
know
it.
it when you see it.
Yeah, I see it used. I don't know if
The
there's
apostrophe?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
apostrophe. It's just when you use in that context, that means see here. So
Well, it means as with the regular apostrophe that you're dropping something. In this case, the first 2 dates or digits of the date.
Right. So I was actually talking about this game to my older brother, who called me for my birthday, because he wanted to know like the kinds of games like we cover on the program, and I said, sometimes we get games that are very trendy, in that they are following industry conventions. More on that later. And then we got something like this, because this is a very unique snowflake of a game, if nothing else. Because, what if you took the very basic mechanics of Tony Hawk and put it in a skydiving game, for lack of a better term, but also wrap it around a quasi Adult Swim aesthetic? Like, it's not trying to be ironic or randomly humorous. It's just its art style kind of reminds me of something that would have appeared on Adult Swim in like the 2000s. But my point is, this is very much a singular gaming experience, the likes of which I've not seen. I can definitely compare it to Tony Hawk in the sense that the baseline goal here is to string along a whole bunch of tricks in order to get a high score. But outside of that, this has very little to do with actual Tony Hawk stuff. It's just that made for a good shorthand to describe to somebody who would it would otherwise be a very long description. Because once again, look at this. How else would you describe this game to an outsider? Without, having to read a paragraph of material here, like I just did. But, that being said, yeah. Doing tricks is the baseline. And only part of the baseline. Because, your actual goals, okay, you have a set of goals for a level, and only some of them relate to score. The others are how many tricks you do. I think, you've done 5 tricks in a row, 10, 15, 20, that kind of thing. A lot of the goals relate to objects. So because the narrative framing device is, you're aboard a plane and it, rips apart. There's a lot of free-floating jetsam in the air. And some of it is highly collectible. To the point where, collecting it is actually part of the trick extension. Because, the deeper mechanics of the trick system is, you get rewarded for variety, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is also the case in Tony Hawk. It's been a while, but I remember, the Tony Hawk's games like you varying it up a bit to, keep things a bit fresh. I.e., if you keep doing the same trick, it scores less and less. This game does a variant to that, in that it won't count, if you do a move twice, in the same move, in the same trick line. It won't count it if you do it twice or twice closely. No, that's where objects come into the equation, among other things. Because there's the piece of metal that you ride as a surfboard. There's the launcher. There's the debris that you get to land on. Yeah, there's the basketballs you can kick. Anyway, getting back to the goals. Some of the goals are, collect 5 sodas before you hit the ground. Collect, get bitten by 7 snakes in a combo. That sort of thing. Get a specific item, which that's one of the harder ones to do, because you have to locate the specific item, and I'm not sure if it shows up in the same place every time. I think it might, but it's the thing is, you're working with a very big play field. Though the hardest goal, at least the ones I encountered, was the land in a specific place goal. Land in a grave or land in a pond were the ones I encountered. And the thing is, I never found those locations because, once again, it's a wide spanning field.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the binoculars to allow you to see more of the field, the ground is coming fast. So you don't get a lot of time to actually locate the spot on the ground. But, unlocking accomplishing a certain amount of goals in a given stage is partially how you advance the gaming story. The other part is there's eventually you will be able to speak to others on the plane, because this game has roguelite elements to it. As in, you are, one of the rewards you get for completing missions is coin. You spend the coins to, like, slow time, repel objects, get the binoculars to see more, that sort of thing. Get more health. Right. I almost forgot to mention this part, because the trick system does operate like the Tony Hawk trick system in another way. In that, if you hit a piece of debris, you end your combo without getting scored. The thing is, it's actually harder to do that than landing on the pavement in Tony Hawk.
Mm.
Not a rare impossibility, but yeah. See, here the upgrade. Anyway, so part of this screen is you will speak to certain people, certain passengers who will task you with getting a very specific item from the stage. And when you get that item and give it to that person, you will be able to unlock the next stage. Though, as you go through the stages, they will get deeper in complexity. For example, the second one of these missions had me collecting a nickel cadmium battery, but in addition to that, it had to be charged. You have to charge it by getting hit by lightning during the fall. And as you go along, the stages will get more hazardous. Like, they will get bullet hell, starting with the volcano. Because you've got these fireballs that are falling and they are spewing bullets out for some reason. I think that's about as far as I got, because, well, this all works fine, and it's a very interesting game in and of itself. I wish I had a portable device to play this on.
Yeah, this seems like something that'd be fun on the Switch.
Well, it's fun for about a half an hour.
Mm.
And then you get to the wall. I've been kind of alluding to it, but it's in the higher difficulty mission. You're probably not going to land the items. You get like the 8 items in one combo goal the first time out. Maybe not the 10th time out. The point is, you're probably going to have to, I don't want to use the word grind, because you're not really grinding, but it's still the same kind of effect. You're going to have to keep working on that particular stage until you get enough of the goals completed to go on to the next stage. And unfortunately, the gameplay loop here is nowhere near as robust as a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater title.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was a game that could legitimately keep me occupied for hours. Even like the earlier ones. This one, it kind of gets stale after about 15 to 30 minutes.
Right.
Because it's like, after about that amount of time, I was like, I'm good. I've seen about all I want to see from this game for right now. And then I would go, and play something else. And there are games like that. That's why I say this would be a good Switch game. Or, Steam Deck. Some portable device. Because it's a game you could play, doctor's office, waiting for the bus, that situation. We talked about this. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying it gets repetitive quickly, and not the good kind of repetitive. Like its gameplay hook isn't it isn't interesting enough to sustain like a 2-hour marathon gameplay session. At least in my estimation. This is probably one of those your mileage may vary deals, but it's just I played this for a little while, and then I was keen to play something else. That's really what it comes down to. It's not bad, and I'm not saying this is a bad mechanic design thing. It's just I did not find it all that interesting in a long-term setting.
Right.
I just want to be clear about that. Not, with that in mind, in terms of its graphics, I wasn't too keen on the art style. I really don't like looking at the main character's screaming face. I find it off-putting for some reason. It's not surprising he's doing that. It's just it's hitting the uncanny valley in a way I can't describe.
The novelty is probably something that's going to wear off after a little while and just become something where it goes from fun to this. I don't want to keep looking at this.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I bring up Adult Swim, because that's a lot of their shows for me.
Right.
This game is kind of ugly artistically. Probably intentionally so.
Right.
Music's okay. Though once again, it's like nowhere near the level of, say, a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater title.
This also doesn't have Tony Hawk's budget.
Right. Anyway, so with that in mind, pricing. So this game is clocking in at $12. I think that's a fair price if you can either put up with the repetition or you have a portable device.
Is this on Switch or something portable, or is it just on PC where you would need a Steam Deck?
Let me check, because I think it is on the Switch.
And I guess we can all see if it's Steam Deck compatible as well. Steam Deck compatibility unknown, so...
No. And yeah, doesn't look like it's on consoles yet.
Oh wait, no, the regular game itself, it's not the demo. The regular game itself is Steam Deck compatible fully.
Yeah. It's just I also know that this game is getting a shocking amount of praise and notoriety. Like I've seen people really enjoy this, and I'm saying, like, I enjoyed it too. It's just not as long as those people did, apparently. Yeah. So
I mean, it's
anyway,
an all right game, like especially playing it in bursts. But yeah, like I couldn't sit at this something like I would like say a full on RPG.
Yeah. Anyway, and I think that's about all I got. So yeah, that'll about do it for Freefall 95 here. Be sure to tune in after the break as Petty Fan reviews Flesh Made Fear.